Okay, so.
Okay, if everyone wants to take a seat, we'll get this show on the road. My name is Sandra Berg, and I'm a member of TFCC, Taylor's Falls Concerned Citizens, who are sponsoring this event tonight. I'm also a member of the committee that organized the event. I'll explain the format for tonight. The moderator for this evening will ask each of you to introduce yourself and tell us why we should vote for you for city council or mayor. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the questions that are asked of you. The timer's in the front row. She has a timing watch, and you can see as it's counting down. And if she comes to the end and says time's up, of course you get to finish your sentence. We won't stop you in mid-sentence, but not mid-thought, because that could go on forever. Mid-sentence. We will determine the first speaker by drawing. I have a little basket with 5 pieces of paper, and one has an X on it. That person will start. The second question will go to the next candidate. That person will start. At the end of the evening, if a candidate passes on a question, he forfeits his right to answer that question. And no candidate has had any information ahead of time. Everyone has been treated equally. Now, the moderator over here is Beth Kitzman, and she will introduce herself to you when she gets here. But first, we will draw for who's first. It's just like the Powerball. I had 6 in here. Oh my gosh.
Is the X
I
still in there?
start. Way to
So
go.
if that's not blank.
Okay, you start.
X goes first, I assume.
X goes first.
So introduction, why we're running, 2 minutes, I assume, for the intro as well.
Her mic is there at the center of the table. Pass the mic down to it. Please.
Yes.
The maniac be on.
Okay, is this better?
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 There.
Hello.
There.
There we go.
Boy, I'm not sure if the mic helps or hurts. Do I need the mic for everybody to hear me?
It helps.
That helps, okay. Good evening, and I'd like to thank the TFCC for organizing and hosting this event. It's really our only opportunity to get in front of the citizens of Taylor's Falls. My name is Tim Grote. My wife Cheryl, who's in the back here, and I have lived in Taylor's Falls for 34 years. We raised 3 children here and are really thankful to having been able to live here and raise our children. Why I'm running for city council is we've been here 34 years. I was very active, my wife was very active in volunteerism, but I haven't worked for 2 years now. And so it's given me the opportunity to look back and consider how I can give back to the community. That's the primary function, or reason why I'm running. But there's another reason I'm running. Many others, including myself and the community, are fairly disappointed in what's been occurring here over the past 12 months or so. It's neither healthy nor is it sustainable. It's on a path to tear the community apart, in my estimation. And when I was outdoor knocking, I was particularly saddened by an interaction I had with a fairly new resident here who when I told her that this hasn't always been the case, we've been here for 34 years and 32 or 33 of them have been peaceful, tranquil, we've all gotten along, government is run pretty well. And she was totally surprised that that was the case, she assumed this had been going on for years and years and years. And that's a pretty sad testament to what's been going on, again, last year. Thank you.
Me next?
Sure, we'll go in reverse, and then when we start the questions, we'll do it the other way.
All right, I'm Randy Cry. We've lived in Taylor's Falls since 2013. Me and my wife and our middle daughter, but now we've adopted our grandchildren. They're over in the back there. So I'm running for Taylor's Falls just because, like Tim said, the shenanigans that have been going on for the last year and a half, not good for the community. We need to bring in the revenue, but keep it taxes down, taxes low for the citizens. Bring in more businesses that are gonna be sustained here. You know, I don't know what else there is, just to keep it a nice community, livable, keep the tourism going, but also keep the revenues coming in. So, you got much else to say, so, thank you.
Ready? Hi, my name is Molly Irish. I have lived in Taylor's Falls since 2019. Although I actually have been trying to get into Taylor's Falls for probably 8 years before that. I have grown up in the community, moved to the cities and then came back, and Taylor's Falls was always a place I wanted to live. I think that Taylor's Falls is kind of an untapped opportunity. There's a reason why everybody lives here, and I think it's important to protect that, and I'd really like to enhance things for the residents with more things for the residents to utilize, such as like more walking trails, more biking trails, because I realize that we are also a tourism community and I want to enhance that. We live here year round, and it would be nice if we could enjoy this town the way other people do when they come up from the cities. I also feel like there are a lot of advantages and opportunities with trying to figure out how we can enhance our commercial, but also keep our small town feel. I think it's very important. The reason why we all live here is because of the way this town looks and feels, and I would really like us to revisit our comprehensive plan that was put together 20 years ago and nobody's done anything with it. I'd also like to figure out a way that we can do projects around the cities, around the town, but utilize a lot of the grant programs that are out there for small communities so that we can not increase our taxes, but also be able to build some new benefits into the community, not just for the tourists, but for us as well.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Lee Samuelson. I'm here tonight with my wife, Julie. I moved to Taylor's Falls back in the winter of 1977 to work at Wild Mountain Ski Area. I think everybody knows Wild Mountain Ski Area. And I liked it here so much, I kind of hung around here all that time. And worked for them. I've been a boat captain on the river for them for over 27 years. I worked for the city here for 6 years, and when I left, I was the public works superintendent. So I think a vote for me would make it, I have a lot of experience with the city, know where a lot of things are, what is needed for keep up the maintenance, water and sewer, keep up the streets, snow plowing and such. But yes, we need to also keep the city in good repair. Cannot let it fall apart. Making sure that the roads stay passable and all of our different amenities, parks that we have and the trails that we have already, make sure they stay in good condition. I'd like to see some more looking into the zoning, keeping up with the zoning in the area, and that's about it. Thank you.
My name is Brandon Weiberg. I'm running for mayor of Taylors Falls. I'm here with my lovely wife Jolene and my 3 children in the back. We had our first child and we looked at each other and said, where do we want to raise these children? And my wife and I came up here quite a bit. I grew up in Lindstrom, so I used to take her around here and show her the great things about our community. And we said, well, let's bring our children up to Taylors Falls. And we have a wonderful school system, so why not? And 2 more kids followed after our oldest, and we love it here. And you know, a few years ago, we started noticing some changes that we might not have really thought that was going to happen in our community. And so we started going to meetings, and we started hearing some things that we didn't like, some things that we understood had to be done. And what really has gotten me involved is a few things. One, I don't want our kids to have to worry about walking downtown. I think we need to bring the safety back into our community. I want to make sure everybody knows that it is safe to have children in this community. It's safe to enjoy the wonderful things that our friends from the Minneapolis-St. Paul area get to enjoy every weekend. We definitely need to be able to start enjoying them ourselves. I also think that we need to bring the voice of the community back into City Hall. And that's one thing that I'm going to definitely be doing when I become mayor. I want to continue hearing everybody's wants, needs, and concerns. And as a entire council, we're going to take that serious. We're going to answer questions. If we don't have an answer for you, we are going to find the answer. We're going to keep the city open, and we're going to make sure that nobody feels like they've been left behind. Thank you.
You can hang on to that, Brandon. I don't know if this is on or if it needs to be.
Is that better? There we go.
My name is Beth Kitzman, and I'm the moderator tonight. I'm a certified financial planner. I own my own practice in New Brighton, Minnesota. I'm also the host of the Artisan Moneycraft podcast, which you can find on Spotify, which is simply me just talking to my clients about how to make a great life out of the assets and income they probably already have. So I'm here tonight as an impartial person. The first thing I really want to do is have everyone give these kind folks a round of applause. Civic duty can be thankless, so let's give them the thanks every time we can. So I'm just going to be here to ask questions. Because Tim started us off, and the person technically kind of to his right who's going to be the next question, Brandon, we're going to have you hang on to the mic. And we'll go through the questions. As was mentioned, you'll have 2 minutes. And the first question, Brandon, is how would you prioritize the city's needs?
Over the last few years, we've seen what happens when the city closes and we don't have necessarily the correct people running the offices, or the office is not open to run. Prioritization with me would be definitely making sure that Monday through Friday if you have a need or a want, that you can open the door and you can go get what you need, or at least talk to somebody and they can refer that need to one of the council members or the mayor, and we will make sure that we take care of our citizens. Secondly, I definitely think we need to revisit, as some of the other folks have said, our comprehensive plan, where we can use that plan and work with businesses in the city. I've been door knocking and talking to quite a few businesses, and they don't feel like they necessarily are getting the support to continue to grow. And with them growing, they're gonna bring more tax dollars, they're gonna be making downtown look even better, and we're gonna attract some new businesses as well. And that's what we really need to do to continue our increase in tax revenue, so that we do not have to raise taxes for the citizens.
Great, thank you very much. Lee, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Sure.
Okay, how would you prioritize the city's needs?
I would like to see us take a look at the zoning for the city that hasn't been looked at in quite a while. As Brandon said, we need to revitalize the downtown. I'd like to see us make sure that the Chisago House hopefully gets open again. Make sure the storefronts, if they need help decorating or jazzing them up a little bit, keep the tourism industry going. Being in the tourism industry myself, it's very important. They bring a lot of money into town. Then along with that, just making sure that we are on top of all of our wastewater problems, if there's any. Make sure our water system and water tower and everything's in good working condition, along with the city wells. Yeah, that's just a few. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Molly, same question. How would you prioritize the city's needs?
Maybe start with a wireless mic. I think in the meetings that I have gone to, it feels like there's not a very good sense of organization at the city. I would really like to see us kind of scrub through the ordinances, scrub through the comprehensive plan, scrub through our office procedures, just basically kind of go through all of it and start from the ground up and figure out what do we need to fix. We have a lot of things that I know meeting to meeting will get pushed back or it just kind of falls by the wayside. So I feel like there's a lot of housekeeping to do just to get things kind of going. I'd also really like to sit down and look at the money and figure out, okay, what do we really have? There's been a lot of money that's been spent out of the general fund. I'd like to see if there's things that we can apply for grant-wise that would help pay for some of these things that we want to do in town without increasing our tax dollars. The other thing I think is important is our website. It would be nice to make that website into a tool. I'm a realtor. I go on lots of different city websites, county websites, and a lot of them, all the ordinances are there. A lot of them, all the community events are there. And it's a tool not just for the people that are coming here, but it's a tool for us. We live here. It'd be nice to be able to, oh, I need to figure out if I'm gonna build a fence, what can I do? It's on the website. I think that I would really like to have a lot of community input on what the community wants to see. I think all right, well, you get the gist of it.
Thanks, Molly. Randy, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yeah.
How would you prioritize the city's needs?
I would start at City Hall, just to make sure that everything's running smoothly up there. Obviously, there's been some issues in the past with City Hall. Past employees that aren't doing their job correctly, but that needs to be addressed, which is being addressed now. And then from there, if there's anything else up there at City Hall, it should be addressed and taken care of at that point. And then work your way down into downtown. Get some of these businesses up and running. Sasaga House, like Lee said, was a good one. Get that thing sold, get somebody in there that is gonna run it and make sure that there's a good family restaurant down there where citizens of Taylor's Falls can go down there and eat, communicate, conversate. Then work on the tourism, bring more tourism into the city, which, I mean, we already have the tourism, but it's, once you push it, there's gonna be more tourism coming in, more people coming in. So there's a lot of things you can start with, but it's gonna be baby steps. So that's about it.
Thanks, Randy. Tim, same question. How would you prioritize the city's needs?
Well, from a high level, the way I would like to prioritize things would be the engagement with the community. That engagement would lead to goal-setting exercise by the council and the mayor, and establish goals. That's from a high level, but none of that can happen until we do reestablish the core functions and make sure that the government is working, City Hall is open, as Brandon had said, things are running efficiently, effectively. Till that happens, really, that should be the highest priority of any mayor or candidate that's elected. Secondly, we've heard a lot, I've seen a lot, people I've talked to door knocking have raised concerns about security. If a community isn't safe, it's really not worth living in. And I think there's a lot of fear on some of the things that are happening. Some of that has been caused by a specific issue, but I also look at sidewalk safety. In the comprehensive plan, we talk about walkability. You should be able to get from there to here. My wife and I, every time we see somebody walk down County Road 20 from the townhouses, we just pray that somebody's not going to get hit by a car. Our kids can't walk to school on a sidewalk. I don't know if that happens in any community in Minnesota. So safety has got to be a priority. Once those things are taken care of, we can get back down to running what a city normally does, economic development. There's no budget for economic development that I could see in the city's budget this year. In my mind, we shouldn't be looking at reducing our expenses because they are pretty low. It's a pretty lean budget. But any new revenue we can bring in can help offset the taxes we all pay by increased revenue.
Great, thank you so much. If we can get the microphone back to Lee. First on the list, cordless microphone. Lee, I'm gonna have you answer this question. If you could change one thing in Taylor's Falls zoning code, what would it be?
That's a good question.
I didn't write them.
The first thing that we would have to do is actually go through the zoning code to see what's actually there. Because it's been a lot of years that it hasn't been looked at. So, once you got that figured out, then it would be time to look at your different areas, your downtown, your parking spaces, your garages, your setbacks. But as far as changing one thing, it's really kind of difficult until you really take a look at the whole thing to see what you happen to have.
Molly?
I would agree with Lee on that. I think that just finding all of the zoning code and collecting it all up to see, I know that some things have been updated, but we can't find it, and I would really like us to find all the zoning code items that we can, scrub through them, see what is actually the old code that we're not using anymore, and just get everything basically updated and gone through, and then put on our new website so that people could also know what the zoning code is.
Great, Randy?
Like these two said, we need to look at the zoning code and see what is viable in the city. And obviously see where their districts are, see what the issues are with the zoning codes.
Okay, Tim?
I like this behind the back.
Yeah.
Well, the zoning is partially driven by the comprehensive plan. So they have to run in tandem. So they agree that the zoning should be reviewed, as well as any process or policy, ordinance, whatever it may be, they'll have to work together. If our zoning doesn't support the comprehensive plan, what good is the comprehensive plan? If the comprehensive plan doesn't support our zoning, what good is the zoning? So it really is a broader question than what one thing would I change. If I could go back in time 35 years ago, I would have asked that the parcel to the north of us be zoned single family. There are townhouses sitting there now. I joke a little bit about that, but I'm not aware and I've not heard any issues related to zoning. None of the people I've talked to have mentioned zoning. It might be on the list, but down the ways, in my estimation. A lot of things have to happen first.
Great, thank you. They already work well together as a team.
Like Tim said, I don't think there's just one zoning issue that we need to pick. And obviously, you can tell with most of the answers that we've given, we haven't read them because we can't find them on the website. And I'll be the first to say that. I've been on that website and it is not fun for anybody to do it. What I have learned, and from talking to a few people, what I would like to do is work with our Zoning and Planning Commission on reviewing each one of them to make sure that we're up to date. They probably need to be done, I would guess we should do it every 10 years. And I would definitely want to be a part of that. And then what we find, we bring to the council meeting. Everybody hears what we find and you all can ask your questions and we'll find answers. So that would be the first thing I would do. When it comes to zoning, we definitely need to make it accessible, but we also need to go through each one of them and make sure they're updated correctly, and that way we can share it with the public.
Fantastic, thank you. Molly, you're gonna start this next question.
Oh, boy.
What do you think is most important development for Taylor's Falls? Housing residential or business commercial? And how would you encourage development?
Well, I am a realtor, so I would say both. But I think that I think downtown TF is a great town, but it's just kind of slowly withering away. And one of the things as far as taxes go is a commercial district is what primarily pays the majority of our taxes that we need for town. So if we aren't gonna push to really, and that doesn't mean putting in big businesses. This is about encouraging small businesses like St. Croix Falls. St. Croix Falls, I feel like we're kind of lazy because people just drive through, they have to drive through TF to go wherever they're going. So we don't really have to work at bringing people to TF. As anybody tries to get to Menards on the weekend knows. But they don't stay here. And if we can get them to stay here, they will spend money not just at one business, they'll spend money at more businesses. St. Croix Falls does a great job. They literally have to funnel people down 87, right? If they're gonna go to St. Croix Falls, they're going there to spend time there. So I would like us to see us build our commercial district in a reasonable, small town way. I would like us to find more housing options because I feel like, good grief, I'm a realtor and it took me 8 years to get a house in TF. Seriously, and I'm knocking on people's doors. So it would be nice if we could find some ways where we can add more housing in, because I know a lot of people enjoy living here, and especially as we have an older community, there's people that have lived here for 50 years and they want to stay living here, but they can't stay in the home they have now. So it'd be nice to find some good residential solutions.
Great, thank you. Brandon?
Randy, do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah,
Okay. What do you think is the most important type of development for Taylor's Falls? Is it housing residential or business commercial? And how would you encourage development?
well, I'd like to see that businesses pick up downtown. With, like Molly said, the more businesses down there, the more revenue comes in. People come up to, they wanna shop at these small towns. They wanna enjoy the atmosphere. So, I mean, that's what I would push is the commercial end of it. You know, I know everybody's been talking about the hotel. That might be a good option. Bring people in for a weekend instead of just a few hours to stay here. Bring them in for the weekend. They might eat at the restaurant, at the hotel, if there's a restaurant there. But they're gonna enjoy the other amenities that are in the town besides just the hotel. So, you know, that would be something that might have to be looked into. So,
Great.
okay?
Yes, thank you. Tim, would you like me to repeat?
No, I'm good. I think it's a both and, kind of like Molly had said. But the commercial development, I really do think needs to be looked at. I mentioned the Economic Development Commission as well. We've got an industrial park sitting up here just waiting for somebody to come and occupy it. We're a little bit hamstrung because the state of Minnesota isn't a great place to incubate businesses. It's not surprising you see so many businesses open up in Dresser, in St. Croix Falls, Osceola. So it's a little more than a local issue, but we've really got to beat the bushes to find people who want to come here and open a business. We've got to find ways to support those people who have already inkled they want to do business here, like the hotel, the brewery, the Chisago House, that this is a great community, and are there ways we can incentivize them to come here without, you know, harming the current businesses that we have? It's a delicate balance when you look at a city, municipality, a state, offering incentives to businesses. But I really think more needs to be done there. We just need to get creative and work harder at it. They're not gonna usually come to us. It's, you know, odd that the hotel just sprung on us and said, oh, I'd like to open up a hotel here. A lot of times you really have to work at it hard to get people interested, and once they're interested, the real work starts. So I would focus on commercial. People find out what a great community this is, they're gonna move here. If there's nothing to do, if the taxes are high, they're gonna be dissuaded from that.
You can hand the microphone right to Randy, right next to you.
Sorry, I didn't go with
Just
that.
waking up.
So Randy, this question is, would you support an external forensic audit immediately upon taking office in January of 2023?
He didn't
Their
answer.
audit done every year at the state, doesn't the state audit the cities every year?
I would be the unbiased third party who doesn't know. Does anyone want to answer that question?
No. I'm gonna assume that they do, this, they audit the cities, every city,
Okay.
so. But if that's what needs to be done, to see what's wrong, if there's any issues, then yeah, I would support it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead to Tim.
Thank you. So an audit is conducted. I'm not sure the frequency, I believe it is annually. It's done by a third-party firm the city contracts with. My guess is it's not forensic to that level of detail. If we had concerns, we would have to instruct an auditor to dig deeper. There's not a lot of money in our budget to be nefarious with, to be quite honest. I've reviewed the budgets for the last 3 years, the proposed budget for 2023 and the prior 2 years. There's not a lot there. Now, our accounting practices may come into question. That's primarily what the auditor looks at. But we just have to be sure, and maybe a forensic audit could show this, that when we move funds to and fro from one account to another, that they're done in full transparency. It's a council decision, and it's been thoroughly discussed. I'm not sure what we request them to look at specifically. I wouldn't discount it, but right now it doesn't seem as though that's first and foremost. I think how we're using our accounting systems and how they either do or do not talk to one another, that would be a higher priority to me, to make sure that we take all the potential of human error out of the equation, and make it work rather seamlessly and efficiently. That way water bills can go out on time without human interaction.
All right, fantastic. I'm gonna ask Brandon and Lee 2 questions, because I got wrapped up in the answer there and forgot I hadn't asked them, so. Brandon, if you don't mind, I'm gonna have you start with what you think is most important in a type of development.
Housing, and then I'll just roll into the other one. We got it, okay. When it comes to looking at businesses and housing, both are gonna go together. And so what we really need to do with that is we need to support our local businesses that we currently have. I've met with a lot of them, and they keep on saying, we used to meet once a month together and we could share our concerns or wants. And we need to get back on track with that. We need to be able to talk with them. We need to know what's going on at their business, what they're seeing across the street, what they want to see across the street. City should support all local businesses. We should also, as Tim said, really work on attracting somebody to maybe come into the business park. And this wonderful mic. Yeah, but they, you know, definitely we need revenue. We need tax revenue. Commercial is going to be the way to go. If we can get more jobs in town here, we're going to obviously need more homes, and definitely people are going to be moving here because it's an awesome place to be. And then auditing. You know, a annual audit. When we get in, we're going to really get to see what's going on. We have no clue. We're not in there. We don't know. We see what we see on TV. We see what we see when we go to the meetings. I definitely would not be opposed. I would be on the side of, yes, a forensic audit would be something to definitely look at to make sure that all our money is going every direction that we need it to go to. I live my life in an envelope system, and so certain percentages should be going to each pot, and we should be taking from that pot for whatever we need. We should be moving stuff and borrowing from this fund and all that. So I think what I would like to see is a complete audit, a new accounting company taking care of us, and then also automation, definitely, so we can take human error out.
So Lee, the 2 questions, the first one was, do you think its most important type of development would be housing residential or business commercial, and how would you encourage development? And then we'll give you another 2 minutes for the second question, but I'll repeat it.
Okay. It's pretty much like everybody else has said, that the business community downtown, gotta make sure we're supporting our business community. Any new businesses that wanna come in, make sure they get the help they're needed. Make more jobs for anybody here in town. Goes right along with the housing, making sure we have plenty of housing for everybody that wants to be here, like to move here. They, yeah, that's the next one.
The next question was, would you support an external forensic audit immediately upon taking office in January of 2023?
I think it would take us to look at what the budgets and what the old audit said and kind of analyze it before we spend a ton of money to have an actual forensic audit. But if it looks like we need one, then we should do one. make sure everything's on the up and up there.
Great. Molly, we'll pass that question to you. Would you support an external forensic audit immediately upon taking office in 2023?
Yeah, I would support that. I think it's important. In the meetings that I've gone to, my concerns have been, I've heard about grant money that we got, and then grant money that we had to give back because we didn't use it, so then we used general fund money instead, which is our tax dollars. And I have too many questions for me to be, I think it would be important, because we kind of need to know, like Brandon said, all this funneling of money from this account to this account, and then we had grant money, well, what happened to it? Like, I know we got $7,000 for our website that we don't have. And it's with a company, and they haven't produced anything. So I would like to do a forensic audit so we could actually find out, well, where is all of our money? What do we have to work with? And again, I would circle back to, I feel like we have to kind of start with a clean slate. We don't know what's up there for anything. So I think that's a good way to start, with a clean slate, to figure out exactly what we do have to work with.
Wonderful, thank you. If you could pass the mic to Tim, and we'll get right back in order. Thanks, Tim. This question is, will you abide by the results of the election?
Oh gosh, yes. If elected, I might question them, but no. No, certainly. Yeah, I can't imagine there'd be any kind of shenanigans in that regard. I have full faith and confidence in our system.
If everybody's okay with it, seems like a kind of a short answer question, so I'm going to ask another one while you've got it. It's kind of related. Will you personally commit to only 2 terms?
You know, I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why. My wife and I have talked about this too. This was not on my top 10 list of things to do in retirement. I got a little emotional at why I'm running for office at the beginning, because I think it's really important. But local government is the closest government gets to the citizens. And if I'm doing a great job and the citizens keep voting for me, why wouldn't I keep running if I wanted to? I don't control the future. I don't know what the future is. I don't know if I'd be able to run for a 2nd term or a 3rd term or a 4th term. I can't imagine, but I wouldn't commit to anything that I have to, presuppose or guess at. I think also, anybody can run. I'm testimony to that. Anybody can run for city councilor or mayor in Taylor's Falls. If you have $700 and the time and energy to do it, you can run for office. There are very low barriers of entry to running in an election in Taylor's Falls. I think I did it for $630 or something like that. And you can get people to contribute. I chose not to. But term limits, I think, is an arguable point at the state and federal level, because the incumbents really do have an advantage there. Here, an incumbent has a very minor advantage. It's not funding, it's some name recognition, but if you're doing a bad job, you're not going to get reelected.
Great. Can bring it back to Brandon. Do you guys want to just go back and forth, whether it's easiest with the mic? All right.
No, make him get up.
We need to
and-
stretch it.
All right. All right, so the first question is, will you abide by the results of the election? And will you personally commit to only 2 terms?
First question, yes. I don't have anything else to say about that. I don't think we'd have issues here in Taylor's Falls. It is what it is. So if I don't win, I'll congratulate the person that does. And I'll see you at the next city hall meeting to listen. So, term limits. This question's been asked a few times. I've seen it online asked by a couple people wanting all of us to say that we'll only do 2 terms. I get the point. I am not against term limits. I cannot say that I agree with only two 2-year terms. I I don't believe in that. I guess if you wanted me to say a year that I think people should step down, obviously, like Tim said, if you're doing a bad job, you guys are gonna take care of that for us. But if you wanted me to come out with a number, I would say 10 years, and then you should move on. And that is not just 10 years as mayor. You could be council and then go to mayor. In my head and in my heart, that's always been there. My wife and I have had this conversation many times, and so that's the answer I'm gonna give.
Thanks, Brandon. Same two questions, Lee. First, will you abide by the results of the election?
Yes, I will, certainly.
And will you personally commit to only 2 terms?
I think like Brandon said, it kind of depends upon how good a job you're doing. You're either gonna get reelected or you're not. And that's would be what I would go by.
Very good. Molly, same questions. Would you like me to repeat them? No.
Yes, I agree on the election results. Brandon kind of stole my answer already, because we had talked about the term limit things. I think 10 years, honestly, is plenty of time to do whatever it is you need to do, whether you're city council or mayor. I think that it's important because you can get complacent, and so it's good to be bringing fresh people into the council. I think that might be how we got to where we're at right now, as we've had the same city council and mayor for a long time. And so I think it's important to bring new people in. I think it's important to keep the community involved and have more people that want to be applying for this glamorous job of city council or mayor of Taylor's Falls, so.
You forget high pay.
High, and extremely high paying as well, yes. Who gets the microphone?
Randy.
Okay.
Same questions. Will you abide
Yeah.
by the result? All right. And will you commit to 2 terms?
I'm not gonna commit to anything. It's up to the people, like it's been said, it's up to the people. If you're not doing a good job, you should get elected out. If you're doing a good job and you're gonna get voted back in. No, and that's what I feel has happened, even with the old administration. They were doing a good job, they were voted back in. So,
Great. We're going to have Brandon kick off our next question for us. This is kind of in first person, but remember, these were all questions that were submitted. So when I say I, it's not me, it's someone else who submitted the question. So I can't answer a follow-up. But it says, as I have attended city council meetings over the last year, I've often heard city council members say, we're just doing what's best for the city. How will you determine what's best for the city? What role or voice do the citizens of Taylor's Falls have in determining what's best for the city? And how will you get that information?
I like this question. This is probably one of the best questions that I've heard yet. They've all been good, but this one excites me because this is who makes the decisions. We're elected for you. And the day we stop listening to your concerns, your wants, and your needs is the day we shouldn't be up here. We shouldn't be up working there. We shouldn't be going door to door knocking on your doors. So I'm going to continue knocking on doors. I'm going to continue having coffee with people. My phone number has never been hidden. If you want my cell phone number at the end of the day, you can have it when we're done, because that's what it's about. We need to stop pretending that we're higher than anybody in politics. It doesn't matter what level you're at. We're all together, and if we can all come together in this town is going to flourish, and that is the big thing. So we're going to keep on listening. I'm going to try to talk to everybody. I'm really bad at names, but I promise that I'll always be there to listen. There's no such thing as a closed door in my world, and if there's something that upsets you, if I upset you for some weird reason, I want you to have the comfort to be able to say, you know what, we don't appreciate this, we don't like it, or hey, good job, do more of this, and that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna continue doing this. These events are great, we're gonna do more of them as a city, and that's what we're gonna keep on moving forward doing.
Thanks, Brandon. The same question. How will you determine what's best for the city, What role or voice do the citizens of Taylor's Falls have in determining what's best for the city, and how would you get that information?
Well, getting the information that you need to listen to the citizens, find out what they're thinking, what they think is wrong. As far as getting it, they leave notes, email, council meetings, they can, I don't know if we'll change the public forum or not, or where you gotta sign up way ahead of time or whatever to get in to talk to the council. But it's the citizens, what's best for the citizens, not just the city, it's what's best for the citizens.
Great, thank you, Molly. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No. I agree with Brandon. I really like this question. One of the ideas that I had, you know, just in looking at how other smaller communities come together, one of the ideas that I think would be great is to have an additional commission, and it would be the Citizens Commission. And that would be a place for everybody to really not have their 2 or 3 minutes at the public forum to say a comment, but not get any of their answers, but to be able to be there so that if you need 10 minutes to figure out about water bills or whatever, but that would be a great place for everybody to bring their ideas, their concerns, their questions, and to have a group of people that are willing to spend some additional time to work with the city council to make sure that what we're doing is working with the residents. We all live here full time, and the tourists are great, but what about us? We live here. So I really want to make sure that our biggest thing is, I think everybody in the community that I've talked to has great ideas, but we're not hearing about them because it's not part of the public forum. And the city council meetings, we're supposed to be doing business, but there's a lot of great stuff and great conversations to be had from everybody in the community. I'd also like to see that, you know, in the beginning of the term, go back to having 2 meetings a month, because I think that there's just too many things that we have to figure out that we can do it all in one meeting. So maybe the second meeting is more community involvement, being able to answer everybody's questions. If it takes longer than an hour for the meeting, so what? I think that's been something that we've been missing for a long time, is more community involvement. All the small towns around here that I've seen, they have a lot more resident involvement.
Thank you. Randy, should I repeat the question?
Yeah.
Okay. How will you determine what is best for the city? What role or voice do the citizens of Taylor's Falls have in determining what's best for the city, and how would you get that information?
Well, it's the citizens that have the voice. They tell us what to do, and we do it. That's the only way that this community is gonna survive. Keep it simple. Just phone number, emails, letters, notes, arrows, whatever it takes, just to let them tell us what they want us to do for them. That's what it is.
Great, thank you. Tim, would you like me to repeat?
I think I'm okay.
Good.
As I mentioned earlier, engagement with the community, the residents, the taxpayers is really paramount. And it really gets down to how do you do that. I'm not sure another commission is the right answer. It's possible. We have a number of commissions already that are members of the community. Those all funnel up to the city council. I think we have to find ways to make it easy for people to offer their input. Everybody's very busy. We've talked about the website, but we do have email. We've got these other forums. There's Coffee Talk. You know, if we all decided every Thursday one of us is going to be at Coffee Talk in the morning and one in the afternoon, maybe we'll hear from a bunch of people and we'll give coffee talks and business. But all of those should be funneled to all those thoughts, ideas, recommendations, wants, needs should be funneled up to somebody within either the council or one of the commissions, so they can actually take action on it. We can then tell them, you know, we looked at this, it's not gonna work. I like transparency, so I might say we looked at it, that was a horrible idea, we're not gonna do it, or that was a great idea, wow, and let's set a goal related to that. It has to be somewhat formal. It takes a lot of work and energy on both parties, both the elected officials and the citizenry to offer input. So I think as many ways as we can make it possible for them, have a triage so it gets to the right person, that's the way to go.
Excellent, thank you. Lee can take the microphone next. Lee, do you think our downtown is successful? If not, what would you do to change it?
I think it's pretty successful. Different things can always use some help. Just the Goat Bar was just bought by another big restaurant pizza outfit. There must be something that they see there. But helping them, you know, like dressing up downtown a little bit. Helping them with making sure parking's in good shape. Maybe some signs showing where parking is if it's a real busy day. Try to get some more businesses, hopefully get a nice restaurant in. Keeping an eye out for somebody interested in something like that. I mean, it'll all help with the downtown area.
Great, thank you. Molly, same question.
I don't think the downtown is very successful right now. I would love to see us do some more events, like, we have a lot of local artists, and, you know, I'm sure everybody's seen the pottery tour signs, but why are we not having like an arch crawl in downtown? And bringing in some food trucks, and doing, you know, like a lot of events like up in Grand Marais. That's a town of 1,200 people. And they constantly have reasons for the residents to come downtown and for tourists to come up. We could be doing a lot of things like that. It'd be nice to have some events that are for residents. So it's not just a weekend thing where we can't even get downtown anyway, but something that might be on an off Monday where it's really just for the residents to enjoy themselves downtown. If we can bring more people to come into downtown and stay in downtown, that means it benefits the businesses that are already here. That makes other businesses wanna be here. Look at Osceola, Dough on the Go, right? That's a great event. Why are we not doing something like that? So there's a lot of events like that. We could do a haunted Angel Hill tour. We could do fundraisers. We could even do a haunted cemetery tour, right? But reasons for people to spend time and money in Taylor's Falls. That is only gonna make other businesses want to be here. So that would be my recommendation.
Randy, do you think downtown is successful? And if not, what would you do to change it?
Downtown is, there's some faltering businesses down there. There's a lot of businesses that closed since I've been up here. You need to bring the right people in and get the foot traffic into them to support them. How to do that? That's a good question. It's hard to say how to do that, but we need to support the local businesses, whether it's have fundraisers, pizza crawls, whatever you said.
Thank you. Tim, same question?
I think it's mixed. I think there are some businesses that have been there a long time that I assume must be successful, and others, as Randy said, have come and gone. You see new storefronts pop up. It's a little bit difficult for Taylor's Falls to take full advantage of the river. St. Croix has a much better opportunity with how they're geographically set up. Stillwater does as well. Somehow if we can make the river more accessible, we have the park, but everybody goes to the park and then they probably go home because they can't get into town. I think traffic is a major concern that steers people away from stopping because they either can't find a parking spot, or it takes them an hour to get from County Road 16 down to the stoplights. I think traffic control is one way that we can actually make the downtown more viable. But bringing in new businesses, a hotel, as mentioned earlier, would bring some foot traffic to the local businesses. I love the art crawl because we love going to the pottery sales, the fall and the spring sales that they have. We have an artist up here. We've got one just down the street here too. We have just a couple of events every year, Wanigan Days and the Lighting Festival, which are great. Small town, corny events, I love them. But I think we need to challenge our businesses too. We have a chamber, but it's a joint chamber. And it seems like the majority rules on the joint chamber. We have businesses who don't participate. They don't want to spend the money to join it. They see no benefit to joining it. So there's no concerted effort to make downtown better. And that's what I think the council and the mayor need to figure out, how to get that in place. It's got to be all in.
Great, thanks. Brandon, same question.
When I was a kid, I used to come up to the Chisago House every Sunday with my parents and had to wait to sit down just to have a good old-fashioned breakfast. It's sad to see that building empty for the last 2 years. Part of our downtown is doing really well. Part of it needs help. We had a great event up here last weekend. Everybody came up that could, and we cleaned this building, and we went around and we cleaned as a community. It was great to see. I was very fortunate that I had time to come up here and do it. Very blessed to do that. Why can't we do that as a community downtown to show the business owners that we really care? Let's go down and sweep. Let's help them take the cobwebs down. Let's tell them that, thank you so much for having your business here. How can we help? Because if we help and make things really great for who's here right now, they're gonna tell their friends, they're gonna tell other business owners, and that's how we're gonna fill Chisago House. We're gonna help that family fill it. I don't think they wanna have that building empty. I think they want that off their hands. And it's gonna take a effort by us all, not just the people that are up here right now or who are gonna be up there in January at City Hall. It's gonna take us all to keep on doing this. And I think we can do it. We have a great community. Tim's right, we gotta figure out how to bring the river in to a river town. We don't have rooftop eating, which would be great if we did. But you know what, with events like Molly said, let's get the local artists in town. Let's do a taste of Taylor's Falls or taste of the river, right? I mean, something, where we can get together with even St. Croix Falls. We need to start partnering. Yes, they get more business and the chamber does favor them on that side. But I think if we do a concerted effort here as a group up here and then with you folks, we're definitely gonna revitalize and we'll take advantage and hopefully keep on growing.
Great. I'm gonna look for a little audience participation here. I'm gonna ask a question, and if you feel like it needs to be asked, please raise your hand. I feel like it's really related to some of the questions we've already asked, so you want me to ask it regardless of what it is? Okay, if you want me to ask this question because you feel like it hasn't been answered, please raise your hand. What would you do to attract businesses to Taylor's Falls?
That's been asked.
You guys are okay? Are we all right with majority rules if we just ask the last question then? Okay. For each candidate, and of course we're gonna start with Molly this time. How many monthly City Hall Council meetings have you attended at City Hall in 2022?
I was attending every month, and then honestly, I was literally coming home and just crying after the meetings. it hurt my heart too much to be there. It's easier to watch it online at home. So I'm really thankful that you guys have been recording it, but that was kind of, my impression of the meetings. So I was going on a regular basis and it just got too hard for me personally, so.
Thank you. Randy, same question. How many meetings have you attended in 2022 at City Hall?
None.
Okay.
I've got a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, so somebody's gotta watch them. They're not quite old enough yet, but the wife has gone to every meeting this year, so just, and she lets me know, believe me.
Good.
Okay?
Yeah, same question, Tim.
I've not attended a city council member meeting in person. I've watched them online, and I do appreciate that. And I think it was a great idea that was brought up at the last council meeting, that the city should actually close circuit that out and do that. It shouldn't be up to the citizens to do that.
I agree.
Thank you. Do I have your vote? But again, there should be people attending it, but again, we're all busy, and if there are ways we can get people more engaged virtually, I think that's great.
Fantastic. Brandon.
I'm not gonna give you a number. This is not there. I'm not gonna give you a number of how many meetings I've been at, because somebody's gonna go up and go through the sign-in sheet and call me out saying that I missed by one. But I can tell you I've missed maybe 4 or 5 this year, and those I did watch online, and I was either out of town for work or I was sick. So I've been paying attention. I started paying attention 2 years ago. Meetings have went from 15 minutes to 2 to 3 hours now. And that's good. I mean, questions are being asked. So thank you for doing, Sandra, thanks for posting them online. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Tim, you're right. We should be using that closed circuit TV station that we have access to. I'm not sure why that hasn't been used, but we can make that happen. We also need to make sure that it may be streamed live for people that are working 2nd or 3rd shift jobs. They can watch if they're not busy, or people can watch from home. And we might not be able to do questions live yet on the internet, but you should be able to watch it live. And I don't see why we can't do that. And also, we should be able to be there live. If somebody's ill, and not too ill, but they don't, want to get the rest of everybody sick, they should be able to take part in this. We should have Zoom. There should be a screen on there so that if a council member or the mayor can't be there for, whether you're out of town for business, vacation with family, whatever, you have a reason to be there. You have a very quick solve. As we know, most of us have been doing Zoom calls and everything online. I don't see why we can't incorporate that into our council meetings.
Great. Lee, same question. How many meetings have you attended?
I've made it to just about every one this year. I've only missed a couple for being gone on vacation or something like that, so. Been there listening, seeing what's going on. Trying to look at what we're getting into.
Okay. Well, we do have, that is our last question. However, if you guys don't mind, I think a good finishing question is always, what question did no one ask that you hoped they would ask? Or what is it that you want the citizens to know about you? And it looks like we started with Lee last time, right? So Molly?
Pressure's on. I think everybody asked a lot of really great questions. Since I decided to run, I have been really spending a lot of time looking at these small communities, the ones close to us, and also, like towns like Grand Marais and stuff like that, just seeing what kind of ideas can we bring here. Like I said, I'm a local realtor, and I fight like a dog for my clients. I fight for their money harder than they fight for their money. I'm very accountable, and that's why I thought I would be good as a city council member. Again, it wasn't about the high pay. But, you know, I think this is a great town, I really do, and I live here. And if I can help and I can make it better, I really wanna be able to do that. So it's really about just my passion for helping people, accountability, fiduciary responsibility, so those are my reasons for running, so.
Randy, what question do you wish someone would have asked, or what do you want the citizens to know what to do?
I think they've asked some very good questions throughout the night. For me, I just I want to step up, help the community, help it thrive, be honest, be transparent, be open, have that open door for the citizens to talk to me. Okay?
Okay. I was surprised 2 questions didn't get much attention or brought up tonight. One was the problem property at the Springs. And the other was the proposed hotel didn't get a lot of airtime either, but I'm not gonna spend my time, if nobody is that interested in here, I'll talk about myself. I think I'm uniquely qualified for this. I was able to accrue a lot of experience and skills in my work life. A little over 2 years ago, I lost my job at kind of the height of COVID. And I was fortunate to have some severances and such to carry me through a little while, but at the end of it, I thought, I'm too young not to work. I need to utilize my skills and abilities while I'm still viable. Well then, you know, you lay in bed a little longer, your cup of coffee lasts till 9 o'clock, you get a little bit lazier, and I finally thought, well, I don't really want to work. But I felt a little guilty because I think I do still have something to offer. I started by offering some pro bono services to the school district, some not-for-profit hospitals to see if there's anything I can do to help them, no strings attached. School district has taken me up on that. I've spent some time with them. But I think, as I mentioned, the skills and experiences I've had really suit me well for city council, especially I would say at this point in time. In my previous career, I was kind of known as the fixer. If there was a department or service that wasn't functioning well, it's kind of like that, give it to Mikey, he'll eat anything. Me and my team were well known for being able to fix those things. Very complex issues sometimes, and I will say, I think without exception, we are able to right the ship. And I think I can do that for the city and help them as well.
Great, thank you.
Get my steps in the night. As Tim said, it was surprising. I was waiting for the questions to come on the boutique hotel and the Springs Inn. I think we've all beat that really hard, and we're all very concerned about both. I'm not going to sit and hammer on it. Know that it's being watched and it's concerning, and the safety in this town is why I led with it. I'm concerned about the safety, and it's going to take all of us to work together to keep the community safe. I don't know what's going on. I'm not in there, but we're going to keep an eye on it and work with local law enforcement if we have to. And I want you all to do that too if you see something that bothers you. Not just there, anywhere. This whole community needs to stay safe. And that's one thing that got me involved in even going to the meetings. I wanted to stay safe for our children. I wanted to stay safe for our residents. And that's why why I started going to all these meetings. As far as business acumen, I manage a multi-million-dollar portfolio business for a company that I work with. The company itself is based out of New York. I work out of my home. So business acumen, I know there's some people maybe in the audience. I know there's some doors that I've knocked on that they're very concerned about my age. I'm 41 in December. Don't be concerned, because it doesn't take just one person to run this city. It's going to take all of us and all of you. And I know I keep on saying that, but I really mean it. and my heart is on my shoulder. When we had storms this spring, I threw a chainsaw in my car and started driving around, because that's what we do. We help each other. We might not all agree on everything, but that's okay. It's okay to say, I don't agree with you, Brandon. That's okay. We're in this mentality that it's not okay to tell somebody that you're not happy. It is okay. Be you. Be true to yourself. Be true to the community. And together we'll turn this around and we're going to be successful. Thank you, guys.
Lee, same question. Is there a question you were hoping people would ask, or is there something you'd like the citizens to know about you?
Yeah, just like everybody else, I figured we were gonna hear about the new hotel and the Springs Inn, but we didn't. But yeah, moved here way back in winter of '77. Loved the area so much, stayed here all the way up until now. And in the meantime, during that time, I worked here for the city and was a public works director. I know the wastewater plant, I know the water system. I feel all my experiences would be a good fit for the city here. Good way we can keep the city running as efficient as possible. Make sure the water bills get out. Different things like that. Thank you.
Fantastic. If everyone wants to just give our candidates a round of applause. Regardless of who the winner is. So thanks everybody for being here tonight. And I believe our candidates will be here for a little bit longer to answer questions, shake hands, and kiss babies, if you got any of those. And I thank you for inviting me here tonight. It's been a pleasure, and I'll be looking to move in a few years, Molly. It's this great little town, and I might need a car. So thanks, you guys. Nice to meet you.
If you're not a cop, could you please put it up on that brown ledge, and I'll go back and start watching.
All right.
Favorite job.
One of the questions that wasn't asked, there's problems around the parking and trucks.